All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Tonight, we're diving into the Minnesota Vikings. Right now, they're sitting at an impressive 12-2 record, riding a 7-game winning streak. Their last loss? Well, that was nearly 2 months ago. Time flies, doesn't it? Now, I know Vikings fans might not want to hear this, and even Kevin O'Connell probably doesn't love it, but let's talk odds. According to BGM, the Vikings have the 6th best chance to win the Super Bowl this year. They're at plus 117 after 14 games, trailing teams like the Detroit Lions, Buffalo Bills, and Philadelphia Eagles. Here's an interesting stat. None of the last 5 Super Bowl winning teams led the league in point differential. All of them were in the top 10, though. So while it might not sound exciting, the Vikings are in a pretty solid position. Let's quickly look back. The last time the Vikings lost a game was almost 2 months ago. Crazy, right? And here we are with just 3 games left in the regular season. Tomorrow, they're heading to Seattle to face the Seahawks, who are fighting tooth and nail to stay in the playoff race. After that, it's a matchup with my Green Bay Packers and a season-ending showdown with the Detroit Lions, potentially for the NFC North title or even the #1 seed. Before we jump further into this, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for daily NFL updates. I know I've said it twice now. Guess I'm a little under the weather tonight, so bear with me. Let's break it all down.
All right, I may not be feeling my best, but let's jump into it anyway. We're back with another Minnesota Vikings video, and this time we're diving into their final stretch of the season. A lot of people are saying the Vikings have 3 tough games left, and we're about to see what this team is really made of. But honestly, haven't they already proven themselves? I mean, let's be real. Nobody expected the Vikings to be sitting at 12-2 right now. Sure, some think these last 3 games will decide whether they're true contenders. If they go 3-0, they're legit. If they go 1-2, maybe not so much. Even 2-1 might leave people saying, well, they have a ceiling. Here's my take. Football is unpredictable. Miracles happen. Take my Green Bay Packers, for example. 15 years ago, we were a 6th seed wild card team. And guess what? We ran the table and won the Super Bowl. The Vikings at 12-2 are way beyond that underdog narrative. Yet somehow, thanks to the red-hot Detroit Lions, they're still battling for position in the NFC. So there's a lot of football left to play, and we can't jump to conclusions just yet. Looking ahead, the chances of the Vikings going 3-0 seem pretty solid. They're riding a 7-game win streak after all. But even if they finish the season 14-3 or 13-4, no Vikings fan should feel disappointed. This has been an incredible run. Let's go back to the start of the season for a moment. Even in the preseason, the Vikings showed promise with a 3-0 record. Yes, it's preseason, but it set the tone. Unfortunately, the team faced an early setback when rookie quarterback J.J. McCarthy, drafted 10th overall, got injured and was ruled out for the entire season. That shifted the focus to veteran QB Sam Darnold. Could he step up and lead this team? Before we dive further into this story, a quick shout out to our sponsor, BetUS. Since we're hyping up the Vikings today, here's something exciting. BetUS has the Vikings at plus 600 odds to win the NFC Conference. That's the same odds my Packers had during their legendary run. If you're feeling lucky, now's the time to jump in. Plus, they're offering a 150% bonus on your first deposit and 125% on the next 2. Just putting it out there. All right, back to the Vikings. Despite the ups and downs, this team has proven their resilience. Let's see how they finish this incredible season. Let's break it all down. The pros, the cons, the best case, the worst case, and what's most likely. Now, I'm not here to overhype the Vikings' 3-0 preseason record. Let's be real. Preseason wins don't mean much. Most of the players in those games aren't even on the field when it matters. But when the regular season kicked off, the Vikings started 1-0 with a win against the Giants. Not exactly headline-worthy. Then came Week 2 against San Francisco.
They took down the 49ers, and people began to take notice. By week 3, the Vikings were 3-0 after a commanding 34-7 victory over the Houston Texans. And yes, C.J. Stroud played in that game. That's when the buzz really started. Hold on, people said. The Vikings are undefeated and just beat the Texans and 49ers? Then in week 4, they marched into Lambeau Field and defeated my Green Bay Packers. The following week, they traveled to London and took down the Jets. By the time their bye week rolled around, the Vikings were sitting pretty at 5-0. But here's the thing about bye weeks. They're like a storyline killer. People move on. Fans stop paying attention because there's no game to talk about. And after the bye, the Vikings barely lost to the Detroit Lions. Barely. Sure, a loss is a loss, but it wasn't a blowout. Then came a short week where they faced the Los Angeles Rams and lost again. Just like that, the Vikings dropped to 5-2, 2 losses in 5 days, and suddenly everyone's writing them off. But here's what's crazy. Since then, the Vikings have won 7 straight games. 7! Yet no one seems to care. Why? Because by this point in the season, half the league is out of playoff contention, and sports talk shows are scrambling for storylines. Let's talk Tampa. Let's talk Washington. Oh, fine. I guess we'll talk Minnesota. And when they do talk about the Vikings, it's all dismissive. Well, they haven't beaten anyone good. Sure, they've taken down the Colts, Jaguars, Titans, Bears, Cardinals, and Falcons, and they even beat the Bears again for good measure. But the narrative is always the same. Not impressed, not inspired. Let's not forget, though, this is the NFL. Winning 7 straight games isn't easy, no matter who you're playing. The Vikings are showing consistency, resilience, and a knack for getting the job done. All right, let's talk about it. Caleb Williams, okay, he doesn't actually suck. In fact, he's a solid quarterback. But let's face it, the Bears? Yeah, they still suck. As Vikings fans, and yes, I'm a Packers fan, but we're all NFC North people here, we know how this goes. Turn the clock back 6 months, and as someone from Chicago, I can tell you this would have been a huge deal. Massive, really. But even if something big had happened, you know how the narrative would go. Frauds. Vikings suck. Total frauds. Anyway, I'm ranting now. Blame it on being under the weather. It's Saturday night, we're live, and I'm about to catch SNL. But before we wrap this up, thank you all for watching. I know this wasn't the exact topic we planned to cover tonight. It just kind of turned into its own thing. Now, before you go, hit that like button and subscribe for more content. And hey, drop your score predictions for tomorrow's game. Vikings at Seahawks. Let's hope we're back here tomorrow evening for a victory recap. Unless you're a Seahawks fan, of course. That's it for tonight. Peace out.